Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I have a special show for you. It's all about questions that all the beginner book folders have asked in my classes, on my Facebook page, on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be answering the most common ones today. So the first question is from someone with the initials JS, and they asked, help, I have a 21.5 centimeter book and it calls for 22 centimeters. Can I get away with a 21.5 centimeter book? So what you're going to do is, and I'm using one of my book folding books as an example, is you're going to look at the pattern. Now, you can look at the very first measurement. For example, here is 2.3, and then the very last measurement, and here is 20.2. Now, if none of the measurements are over, in this case for this question, 21.5, yes, you can use that book. Just be aware it's not going to be absolutely centered from the top and the bottom, but if it's just by a half a centimeter, go ahead and use that book, not a problem. The second question, if I wanted to add a color of paper to make my pattern stand out, what is the best kind to use and what is the best way to add it? Do you glue it or do you do something else? So the first thing, when you add paper, you need to be aware there's two types of cardstock. This one, as you can see, the color goes all the way through. It's called solid core. So you can see the pink goes all the way through. Now on this type of cardstock, as you can see, there's color here, but there's not color on the back. So it's not solid. And when you're doing the book folding with the color, it has to be solid core because all you're going to be seeing is seeing the edge. So once you've cut whatever color you're going to want, I use a paper slicer. What you're going to do is, to add color, you need to use a 180 fold. Now, this is just my sample book. As you can see, this is probably also a really good recommendation. Always have a book where you can just try different things. So go ahead, and if you're going to do this, you have to use a cut and fold pattern, but first you need to measure a 180. Now, the perfect way to do 180 is just to use a filing cabinet hanger and just take it off. And you're going to go ahead and bring it to the top and then fold your paper over it. It's a little bit hard to do while standing up. So this is your 180. Okay? Then go ahead and measure and mark as you normally would for a cut and fold. So I'm just going to show you an example. Then when you bring down your every other tab, you're going to wind up with this area right here where you can slide the cardstock in right under those tabs, like so. Then go ahead and glue underneath right here and here to hold it into place. That's the best way to add color. And a great example is this dragonfly book I have right here. It's a great example of adding color. So as you can see, here's a great page. I've made the 180, then I've done the markings, and then as you can see, I can't open it up because for the most part, I can't open it up because I've glued these pieces of paper in. And then you can add multiple colors if you want to have a really nice design. So that's how I created this beautiful dragonfly. If you like this dragonfly, you can find the pattern in my Etsy shop, which there's a link below. The next question came from someone with the initials GM, and is, what is a spacer fold? And again, this comes up a lot. A spacer fold is also called a half fold. And what it does, it gives space in between sections in a pattern. So to form a spacer fold, or most commonly called a half fold, what you're going to do is you're going to fold the top right corner and the bottom right corner into the center, like so. Then you're going to take the tip and fold it into the gutter. And that's how you make a whole half fold. So let's go ahead and do that again. Top right corner, bottom left, form a point in the center, take that tip and fold it into the gutter. And that's going to give the space between parts in a pattern. It's very often used in patterns involving names. This person said, new to this, can anyone tell me why every other page in a pattern is blank? And to explain that, this is a leaf of a page of a book. If you notice in this case, this page is number 13, and then the back is 14. So each page actually takes up 2 page numbers. So that's why they're in most patterns, they're going to be listed every other. So if you take a look again in the book I published, so for this really sweet gnome pattern, if you take a look at the pattern, it's going to be listed with every other page. So it's going to go to 1, 3, and 5. So you're not skipping pages. It's just the way the leaf actually is 2 page numbers in a book. Next question. This is from Paula, and I think this came from my Facebook page. I have trouble with double decimals. Do I round up? So some patterns are much more exact, and if you have something like an Aztec ruler, you'll be able to do the double decimals. Also, if you're young and have great eyesight, which I don't. So if you don't want to do the double decimals, all you're going to do is round. So if it's, for example, 5.15 centimeters, go ahead and do 5.2. If it's 5.31, go ahead and do 5.3, just round. The next question. I've done a couple of mark and fold books of names, but they haven't come out very good. The names are not standing out like I have seen before. You can hardly tell what the name is. And this is from Shauna, and I think that came from my YouTube channel. So Shauna, here's an example of a bird, and the way you get it, the folds to be nice and crisp. One, you can go ahead and use a bone folder, which is easily purchased at a craft store or Amazon, wherever you want. And that's going to make your folds nice and crisp. So after you do your fold, you just go over it like so. The other suggestion, or hack I would say, is you can either, I just sit on it, so go ahead and sit on it for about a half hour, and that will also make it nice and crisp. Or you can go ahead and do a stack of books on top for a few hours, and it's just going to make it nice and crisp. So that is the secret, is sitting on it. Yes, people, sitting on it. Next question. This is from Jean, and this also came from my Facebook page. What do I do when you have 7.8 and 7.8? Can someone send a photo of how you do this? So sometimes when a pattern maker is making a pattern for you, their pattern maker will always average to the nearest tenth so that you don't have the double decimals. So sometimes that winds up being the same number. So if you wind up with something like 7.8 and 7.8, just go ahead and take the second number and go up 0.1. So 7.8 would then become 7.8 and 7.9. So if you have 10.1 and 10.1, do 10.1 and 10.2. And the last question comes from Jolynn, and this is from my YouTube channel. New to book folding, doing a cut and fold, and wondering if you mark all your pages with cut and mark first and cut everything, or mark and cut each page one at a time. So this is totally up to you. If you want to go ahead and do all your measurements page by page and go throughout the entire pattern, and then go ahead and do your folds or your cut and folds afterwards, totally fine. So I've seen some people, they do all their marks, and then if they're at a doctor's office, or maybe they're on the train commuting to their job, they'll do then the folding at the office or on the train. So it's totally up to you what you want to do. I tend to get a little bored, so honestly I do like probably 20 pages of marking and then 20 pages of folding. But again, totally up to you. So for everyone, these are questions that came up. If you have additional questions, please list them down in the comments, and I will be sure to answer them. So thank you. Please like and subscribe so you won't miss any of my videos that come out every Sunday. And thank you, and happy folding.